It'll be Blake Griffin and Deion Thompson. Vern Harris, John Hughes, Tommy Eads. The officials governing play, and it's controlled by the Sooners. The tap back to Austin Johnson, a senior from Amarillo, Texas. It'll be interesting watching his matchup with Lawson. Lawson has a chance to be much more physical, you would think, on that Johnson matchup at the point. He's coming back out. He's left open. Johnson with the three, and it dips down and out. Chased down by Hansbrough. Carolina's all-time scorer, all-time rebounder. An all-time NCAA tournament scorer now. Deion Thompson. He'll take the little jumper, and it's all there. A little over-anxious here at the beginning. I'm sure everyone is.
A couple of agenda items for Oklahoma. Perimeter shooting. They've got to get people to make perimeter shots. Here's one of the guys that can do it for them, Tony Crocker. And they also have to control the pace of this game. They don't want it to be a game played in the 90s.
Now, how about this? A quick foul in the first minute on Tyler Hansbrough. Last year's National Player of the Year against this year's National Player of the Year. That is most unusual to see a situation where you have two players with those credentials squaring off in the NCAA tournament. It's been some 41 years since that happened. There's Taylor Griffin, too strong with the bank shot. They're matched up here at this end. Blake Griffin on Hansbrough. Now Lawson sees a little opening, and the floater back of the rim. Blake Griffin, nation's leading rebounder, pulls it away. He's already got 3 boards.
Well, he just gobbles them up, Jim, offensively and defensively. He's so strong and always under control with his body, and he's got excellent timing, which makes him a fabulous rebounder. Both teams have started man-to-man. That's what I expect to see most of the game. Quick move.
Got past Hansbrough, short on the shot, and it's Danny Green waiting for someone to cut off his dribble, and it's Crocker who did so, but with a foul. Tony Crocker, interestingly, missed his first shot here tonight from 3. Hit one the other night, and he had been so cold of late. But that opening shot was so pivotal for his confidence level. Went on to hit 6 threes, 28 a career high.
Sometimes that first one is the beginning of the volcanic eruption. Thompson loose underneath. He had a shot there and elected to pass up on it.
Well, maybe after all there on his first attempt, he thought otherwise. He's going to take this one, though, and he knocks it down.
Hey, when you're a post player with his kind of shot and shot-making ability in that 12 to 15-foot area, every time you get an open look, you've got to think about getting it towards the basket.
Deion Thompson, who gives him 11 points a game, puts up the first 2 of this one.
I mentioned agenda items for Oklahoma. Perimeter shooting, transition defense for North Carolina, guarding the arc and trying to speed up the pace. And here we go. Ty Lawson.
And he is fouled on the shot by Austin Johnson. He's got that burst, maybe unlike anybody else in college basketball, and he had a little stutter step move and then just raced past Johnson, could only foul him.
Yeah, you know, he's like a variable speed fan, and all of his speeds are fast.
They say it was before the shot, so Carolina inbounds. Here's Ellington. He takes his jumper, and it's all net. He is on a roll for more than a month. Oklahoma has missed its first 5 from the floor. Finds itself down 4-zip. Almost 3 minutes in. And this is going against Oklahoma down low.
I think it's Tony Crocker trying to set a screen.
And that's 2 on Crocker.
Wow, that's a big story there, Jim. His second personal foul. That's an area that the officials have been very attentive to all season long. Moving screens, illegal screens.
They're going to bring in Cade Davis, and this is not a real deep Oklahoma team, is it, Clark?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, that's one of the advantages North Carolina has. Much more comfortable is Roy Williams going to his bench for production than is Jeff Capel. But now Cade Davis, who's capable from the three-point line, is going to have to really be a factor for his team here today.
It's Lawson. He's past Johnson. He waits. He sees Griffin, so he kicks it out. 3-point shot. Danny Green drills it. 7-0 North Carolina. Now Lawson set it up. Another assist for Ty Lawson. Froze that defense as he was down low and found an open Green.
Oklahoma has to think about trying to drive the ball. Beautiful.
Wow, what a drive it was by Taylor Griffin. And I know Hansbrough a little skittish about getting too close with already one foul early in the game.
Well, had he gotten close there, he would have been posterized because Taylor went with strength on that finish.
Thompson short on the shot. Now it's Austin Johnson. Cade Davis, who can shoot the three but passes it up. Feeding that matchup. Lawson and Hansbrough defending. Green got a hand in there, and that forced the steal. But a push-off call is going against Oklahoma, and it's going against Blake Griffin. So the two stars have a foul each as we reach the first break. A jittery start for the Sooners, and Carolina is up 7-2. Well, we've got two Big East teams in the Final Four. That's what it'll be. Villanova and UConn, and Tom Izzo now 5-1 in regional finals and 14-2 in the tournament in the back-to-back games. When it's the second game up, you have that short period, less than 48 hours to prepare. A superb mark for Tom Izzo. And that Michigan State team is going to be the first team since Duke of '94 to play in the Final Four in its home state. Here's the lob by Lawson to Green.
But you make an excellent point about Tom Izzo and his staff, their ability to prepare their teams on short turnaround. And it's also a credit to the players to be able to be that disciplined mentally to get ready for another opponent on a quick turnaround. Says an awful lot about not only Izzo and his staff, but those players as well.
And that Duke team back in '94 had a starting guard by the name of Jeff Capel, who was on that Oklahoma bench trying to take the Sooners to the Final Four here today.
Well, if it's going to happen for his players, they're going to have to get contributions from some other guys. Here's Ed Davis, who's been outstanding off the bench for North Carolina as a point producer, rebounder, and shot blocker. There's Mr. Stat Sheet Stuffer there. Danny Green, he gives you a little bit of everything.
Well, he takes advantage off the foul call against Cade Davis, which was the 15th foul already on Oklahoma. Only one on North Carolina.
That's a huge number because Carolina shoots 76% from the line as a team, so you don't want to give them any extra opportunities at that charity strike.
And this is the largest deficit of the tournament so far for the Sooners. That is Davis. Lawson will throw it back in to Davis. And they're 0 for 4 from 3 so far, the Sooners.
Well, they're not getting high-quality looks there. They've got to look to drive the ball a little more and not be content to pass it around and then settle for a perimeter jump shot.
That's going to be Ed Davis. It's a second on Carolina, his first, and Oklahoma having a hard time. They've been shooting almost 60% for the tournament, but not so far tonight.
Well, that's a good opportunity there that Griffin shorthanded. But the other perimeter shots, Jim, has been challenged. Your shooting percentage goes down significantly when the shot is challenged. And North Carolina doing a really good job of getting a hand up on shooters here early.
Only 1 of 7. Juan Patillo is on the floor for Oklahoma. Number 12.
There you go.
Warren, and it was off his knee.
But that's the right idea, Jim. On ball reversal, in other words, when that ball goes from one side to the other, the defense is shifting, and that's a good time to try to penetrate off the dribble.
Green back to Davis. Blake Griffin defending. Over Blake Griffin, and it rolls in. Ed Davis off the bench with a basket. Now it's Blake Griffin. Reach in, stolen by Hansbrough. 4th turnover against Oklahoma. Lawson, pull-up jumper. Yes.
Beauty.
Double-digit lead already. Heels coming out hot. They lead it 13-2. Here in Memphis, off the Mississippi, we're actually off the banks of the Mississippi on the other side. North Carolina won its championship back in 2005 in St. Louis with Roy Williams. Now here is Warren getting past Bobby Frazier. Actually, Frazier collides with him, so it'll put the freshman on the line. Talked about earlier, Clark, about how players of the year from consecutive years meeting in the tournament. best we can tell, it's Lou Alcindor of 67 meeting the University of Houston's Elvin Hayes. They met in the 68 Final Four after earlier that season meeting down in the Astrodome in the game of the century.
Yeah.
Houston won in the regular season, and then Guy Lewis's team met John Wooden's squad there in the Final Four, and this time it went to UCLA.
And you saw that number Lou Alcindor was wearing, 33. He's the reason that I started wearing 33 as a high schooler and as a collegiate and even in the NBA, because I was a huge Lou Alcindor fan. Even though I grew up in Ohio, UCLA was on TV, read everything about him, and watched that graceful big fella do major work.
There's some major work to Hansbrough. Easy basket for Hansbrough. By the way, coaches Wooden and Lewis, I know they're both watching right now, and we send them our best wishes.
Yes, sir.
Two great men.
Icons in the college game, both.
15-4, Carolina advantage.
I like that. I like that.
Patillo, thanks to the setup by Warren. Warren seems to be having it his way, penetrating.
Yeah, that's something that Carolina has had trouble with in its losses. Guards that are aggressively looking to take the ball inside. Ty Hansbrough denied at the rim, and Blake Griffin comes up with the rebound, and Tyler Hansbrough may have been guilty of the foul.
The foul charge to North Carolina, number 50, Tyler Hansbrough.
It is a second on Hansbrough. That's a significant.
Look at this action here between these two big guys.
Yeah, got tangled up.
Yeah.
So 2 on Hansbrough, not even 7 minutes into the game, and he's coming out.
Jim, I made the analogy the other night about going through the drive-through on occasion, but sometimes you need to eat inside. Well, in basketball, you can't always settle for the convenience and ease of perimeter shots. You've got to drive that ball into traffic and trouble to try to put pressure on the defense. And Willie Warren did it effectively the last possession for Oklahoma.
They've got Ed Davis back out there with Hansbrough sitting down, and that's Warren. Follow up Patillo.
That's another reason you do that.
Patillo actually had a block at the other end on the Lawson shot, got a fingertip on it. How about these two teams and the matter of having been in this position before, Clark?
Well, you've got North Carolina. They've got multiple guys that have played multiple Elite Eight games. So they're comfortable doing what they normally do, which is play their game. Oklahoma, here in the last minute and a half, though, Jim, starting to find its rhythm and confidence, in part because Patillo has given them a pretty good lift off the bench. Blake Griffin has struggled. Good shot attempt there, doesn't go. He doesn't want to foul, so he allows Ed Davis to get that one up and over. Dribbled in traffic there and lost it. But he's a guy that's going to adjust. He's already got 7 rebounds, but he'll adjust and realize what he can get away with. I think he's going to have to turn and face a little more, Jim. He can't be content to play with his back to the basket when he catches that ball in the paint, because he's so quick if he can turn his face as defender.
It's Warren. And gets the shot. You can see that Blake Griffin frustrated, wants the ball more. He's only taken 1 shot so far. But sitting down at the moment as they brought in Orlando Allen, number 21. For some size, taking Blake Griffin's spot on the floor.
You know, he gave him some good minutes the other night. 2 rebounds and a block in 5 minutes for Allen, and doesn't sound like much, but when your bench is short, that's a positive contribution along the front line.
Bobby Frazier still on the floor with 2 fouls for North Carolina. Open shot for Lawson, and he hits this one. 2-point shot for Lawson. That ends a 6-0 stretch for Oklahoma. Capel trying to steal a few extra seconds for Blake Griffin before the under-12 timeout.
We saw him do that the other night effectively. He's actually done that all year with Blake. Blake has averaged only 33 minutes a game on the course of the season.
And it's Warren again driving in, this time fouled outside. So the foul starting to add up. That'll be the 6th on North Carolina.
The foul is charged to North Carolina, number 4.
That's 4-3 on Frazier. And there's a look at the summary. 4 turnovers against Oklahoma, none for North Carolina. I'm looking out now. as Oklahoma breaks huddle and they're bringing back Blake Griffin, but Hansbrough's sitting with the 2 fouls. How long do you think he'll sit down, Clark?
It's hard to know for sure with Roy Williams. This is a senior who's played with foul trouble before. I think as long as the game is comfortably in Carolina's favor, he'll try to get to this next media timeout without having Hansbrough back on the floor, because he runs the risk of a 3rd foul having to bang with both Griffin guys inside.
Again, Blake Griffin only 1 shot taken so far. He's averaged 30 a game in the tournament. Way outside. That was off the mark for Willie Warren, who is not afraid to shoot. Their 2nd leading scorer. Danny Green for the 2nd time tonight, no. And Blake Griffin with an 8th rebound.
If he gets his hands on it, it's his.
Warren's pass deflected and saved in the corner by Lawson. Danny Green in the paint, hits the shot. They have scored off every Oklahoma turnover. 5 turnovers, 11 points it's resulted in at the other end.
That's capitalizing, and North Carolina is very good at that.
Similar story what happened against Gonzaga on Friday night.
That's right. Got to get that ball reversed. There you go. Nicely done. And a good play defensively. I think Ty Lawson got in the middle of that.
And it's stolen right back. Omar Leary on the floor. Number 11, senior from Portland for Oklahoma. And that's the first Carolina turnover. Here is Leary. Quick double team on Blake Griffin. Leary off the mark. Slides off the rim into the hands of Ellington. Hansbrough is running over to check in. He's been sitting down for over 4 minutes. Ed Davis gets another chance. And Danny Green flies in, takes it away, and gets the putback. What an effort by Danny Green.
Terrific effort to pursue that orange. And that's all offensive rebounding is about, Jim. Tracking that ball and then going after it aggressively.
This now ties the largest lead for North Carolina. They've done just fine in this stretch without Hansbrough.
Well, they've got multiple weapons that can provide offensive production for the Tar Heels.
And it's a call against Danny Green, but it was Green at this, and watch this.
Yeah, he just came and took it from him.
Right away from the Griffin brothers.
Yeah, they actually didn't realize he was coming, didn't squeeze it, and Danny Green came and snatched it right away.
It's now 7 team fouls against North Carolina, but it's a 2-shot situation. Blake Griffin. And who would have believed it, that Blake Griffin would have taken 11.5 minutes, 11 minutes and 31 seconds into the game before he scored. Hansbrough back out, along with Larry Drew for the first time. Tyler Zeller, a 7-foot freshman for the first time. And Justin Watts, another freshman, 6'4", out of Durham, North Carolina.
You can see here Roy Williams understanding that Oklahoma does not have a very deep bench. And with a little foul trouble, Bobby Fraser already has 3. Roy Williams going to go to his bench and look to wear down Oklahoma a bit.
Zeller snaps it over. Blake Griffin went for the steal. Actually, it was his brother. Taylor went for it, and well set up by North Carolina to now take it to 23-12.
Well, North Carolina able to get what they want inside. They've capitalized on turnovers, and there's no stopping that. That's why I think he's got to turn and face, Jim. He is so quick. He can get by just about any post guy who tries to defend him, and he's got to be aggressively looking to turn, face, and get to that rim. Because when he gets within 3 or 4 feet of it, he's punching it home.
Foul on Leary, and Hansbrough with a dunk of his own. Well, we know Michigan State and Connecticut are going to meet next week in Detroit. Villanova will face the winner of this one. Villanova beat North Carolina back in 1985 in a regional final down in Birmingham on its way to winning that Cinderella championship. And then if you have it the other way, if it's Villanova against Oklahoma, how about Scotty Reynolds against the team he thought he was going to be playing ball for?
He
Oklahoma.
committed to Oklahoma, and when Calvin Sampson took the Indiana job, was released and ended up playing for Jay Wright, and it's worked out just fine.
Our star comparison, only 4 points apiece so far for Blake Griffin, Tyler Hansbrough. Under 8 minutes to go first half. Ellington.
Well, North Carolina has taken advantage of every single Oklahoma turnover, and they've also been able to get some second opportunities on their offensive glass, and then Oklahoma has made 0 of 6 from the three-point line. So all of that has led to this 9-point cushion for North Carolina.
Yeah, that's a foul call against Tyler Zeller. His first. Team foul number 8 against the Tar Heels. We saw Big Tyler yesterday, and his brother, his 16-year-old brother Cody, who's going to catch up to him here pretty quickly.
Oh man, I was looking up at both of them.
Yeah, Tyler's at 7 feet even. Here is Taylor Griffin, and a nice aggressive move to the hole for the senior Griffin.
Well, I think that's where Oklahoma can have some success. If they take care of the ball, move it, and then try to drive it, they can get to the rim. But they've been hurt on the offensive glass of North Carolina. Not rebounding effectively here in this first half.
Nice little move by little Larry Drew with his putback of an Ellington miss.
See, I think sometimes what happens with Oklahoma, as Tyler Hansbrough almost came up with the steal, is that they rely on Blake Griffin and Taylor Griffin to get most of the rebounds.
You can watch exclusive video of Amen Corner Live, plus 15 and 16 action from those two holes live, and bonus coverage of the entire field with Masters Extra at cbssports.com/masterslive and masters.com. Just a little more than a week away from that tradition unlike any other. And you see Hansbrough is going to take another breather here at the 6:38 mark, and the 2 fouls. Crocker. Open shots being passed up here. 4 on the shot clock. Crocker has to take it at 1.
You called it, partner. They passed up some really good looks and then got a forced one at the end of the shot clock.
Green shot somehow bounces in for a 3. Just put a dead ball up there on the rim. That's a bonus. Talk about bonus.
Boy,
coverage.
He's had some kind of half here, Danny Green.
Got 12 points.
Yeah, 12 points, couple of boards, solid defensively.
Oklahoma 0 for 7 from 3. They did that to Syracuse the other night in the first half. Held the Orange to 0 for 10 in the first half from behind the arc.
Carolina doing a pretty good job defensively, though. They've challenged just about every one of the three-point shot attempts for Oklahoma.
4 on the shot clock now. Double up on Blake Griffin, and again Crocker has to force it. Not in time. No shot, in fact, at all attempted, and the shot clock violation.
Jeff Capel wondering what his team is doing out there. Not aware of the shot clock the last 2 possessions. You got to move that ball quickly and try to get into your move aggressively early. And Carolina again doing a solid job defensively, rotating the shooters.
Ellington, his rainbow comes up empty and on the line. That ball bounced, so it goes back to Oklahoma.
One of the few forced shots or ill-advised shots that Ellington has taken in about a month and a half. He's been really on fire in every aspect of his game.
1 of 4 so far tonight. Here's Crocker. He's going to set up and shoot it. And this is what they had been getting out of Crocker before the Syracuse game. Lawson. And that one, just like Ellington, comes up well short. Taken up. Blake Griffin, and a reach in on Lawson. His first. Danny Green, a big part of the story here, partner.
He has been. He's as versatile as baking soda. He gives you a lot of different good uses. Getting it off the dribble on the offensive glass. And having a terrific first half. And he had been in a bit of a slump coming in. Actually, since the ACC tournament, he had really struggled with his perimeter shot, but has found a little bit better groove here in the last couple of ball games.
Be a 1-1. And that is going to North Carolina. I got to give you a lot of credit. I'm going to change it. Yeah, we're going to change it back to everybody who headed the other end, going back to the Sooners. I never could have imagined that Danny Green would be compared to baking soda.
Well, it's actually sodium bicarbonate. You can use it for house cleaning, hygiene, cooking, baking, leavening all types of sweets and cakes and cookies. You didn't know that?
Of course. Brushing your teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit of
a deodorizer. And that's what Danny Green is. He gives you all of those good, positive elements in his basketball stat line.
Oh, makes total sense to me. And there he is again.
On the glass.
Thompson off the glass. Tapped up. No. Taylor Griffin says we'll take it back. We're approaching 4 minutes to go in the half. Oklahoma's not hit a rhythm yet. They shut down Blake Griffin again. Every time, two bodies on immediately. That's a foul in Carolina. This will be double bonus, so we'll have two at the line. Blake having just missed the front end of a 1-on-1.
That was pretty solid defense, I thought, by Carolina there. But Deion Thompson did bump Blake just a bit. Blake has to be careful not to get casual with the ball, understanding there's going to be a double team. He needs to keep two hands on it until he's ready to make a pass or a shot move.
First foul on Thompson. Two shots for Griffin. Content to keep Hansbrough down with the two fouls and the big lead with 4:04 to go in the half.
He's got Thompson out there along with Ed Davis, both very capable frontline performers.
Griffin up to 6 points now, and it's a 10-point North Carolina lead. Oklahoma managing only 18 so far. 16 minutes into the game. Larry Drew loads it up. And that's going back to the Sooners.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is time out on the floor.
Blake Griffin double teamed every time he touches it.
Yeah, good strategy here by North Carolina. They've got length, they've got size, and they're intentional in their double teams. You see there is Thompson coming down. He fouled that time, but a good job by North Carolina to recognize when Blake has it and go down and aggressively double team. I think Blake has to catch it more on the move, and they need some of these to go down. Oklahoma is still over from behind the three-point line. They've got to be able to knock some of those down if they're going to get back in this game. 0 of 9 from behind the arc.
There's the double team.
Get that ball reversed and then attack the seams. And then Blake has to move a little more aggressively inside. Good look by Taylor Griffin.
Patillo kicks it back out. And that's Ed Davis fronting Blake Griffin and getting the steal up ahead. Green. Davis. Now Patillo. That was Warren actually who fell to the floor. No call. And it's back to a dozen.
13-2 points off turnovers. There you see it. Popping up just as I mentioned it. That's been a huge story in this one. Live ball turnovers, steals that have allowed Carolina to get into transition for points.
Now Danny Green has picked up his second. Again, they'll be shooting 2 on the double bonus. And coming up, AT&T at the half. Greg Gumbel, Greg Anthony, Seth Davis. They're going to recap the Michigan State Louisville Midwest Regional Final, and they will talk with Villanova head coach Jay Wright about reaching his first Final Four and an AT&T Naismith Watch update. It's all coming up on AT&T at the half. That's Michigan State going back to the Final Four on the 30-year anniversary of its '79 championship team.
Right.
Tillo back of the rim. 2:30 to play. Hansbrough still sitting. Brian Thompson. No field goal by the Sooners for 5 minutes and 10 seconds. No double team this time. So he'll get the fadeaway shot. Yes. Gets the single coverage, if you will, and he takes advantage.
Well, he had the ball on the move there. He took it himself after getting the defensive board and stayed facing his defenders. He never really turned his back on them and got a good look at the bucket. Oklahoma just needs a little surge here to get back in it, but they can't do it if they don't defensive rebound.
Well, Danny Green chased down that offensive rebound, and the foul against Oklahoma, and it's against Taylor Griffin, his first. LeBron James. You'll find out all about LeBron tonight on 60 Minutes. Created a new kind of madness. That's what he's done. You may have seen that shot where he just flips it underhand. Steve Croft standing right there.
Well, I think that guy is on his way to MVP of the NBA, and perhaps going to lead his team to maybe an NBA championship this year. That's how good he's been playing.
One more for Danny Green.
This guy's been playing pretty good too.
Having a huge half.
He sure is.
He's got 14. He's the only Carolina player in double figures. In fact, that's 10 more than the next highest scoring Tar Heel right now. You got Lawson, you got Davis and Hansbrough with 4 each. 14 though by Danny Green. Tapped around, and Carolina, boy, they had 3 Carolina players right there all battling for it amongst themselves.
You'd much rather have that happen than guys not going after the ball, that's for sure.
We'll bring in Justin Watts. So Troy Williams brings back the freshman. And Green will sit down after a difference-making half. Unless Oklahoma hits a 3, they're going to have the same thing happen to them that they did to Syracuse. And that's called making no threes in the first half. It's a foul on Davis, number 2 on him. North Carolina trying for in 18 a standalone number. Final 4 appearances. Last year both North Carolina and UCLA advanced to that promised land,
along with Kansas.
Yeah, they both lost on the Saturday semifinal round. Both Carolina and UCLA, that is. Zeller as they take out Davis.
Well, North Carolina able to use a lot of bodies. Oklahoma not nearly as deep. There you see Blake almost to a double-double, but Oklahoma hurting itself a bit from the foul line here.
It's the second one though, and it's been pretty much this margin most of the half, hasn't it, Clark?
Yeah, it has been, because North Carolina has won the battle on the offensive glass. The Tar Heels have capitalized on turnovers, and Oklahoma showing zone defense here for the first time. Better make sure they rebound out of it if a shot goes up and is missed. That's been a problem area for them here the latter part of this first half.
Ellington snaps it out of bounds. Watts was his intended target. Well, they can pretty much take it down to the end of the half, about a 2.5 differential with the Sooners trying to get this under 10 before the intermission.
Well, you look at this score, Jim. North Carolina averages 90 points a game, so the pace has been okay for Oklahoma. The efficiency has been lacking. Let's see if they can finish the half on a positive note. Probably going to run some type of pick and roll involving Blake Griffin here.
Blake Griffin, who was scoreless the first 11.5 minutes, now has 9 points, 9 rebounds, 10 on the shot clock. Austin Johnson, that's a tough pass. He got it there, though. Blake Griffin, wow, perfect spin.
What a shot. My goodness, you're right. That was a tough pass to handle, and he got his hands on it and somehow found a way to get it up and down. Go to work, big fella.
Are you as mad as a drink with real Coke taste and 0 calories? Well, prove it upload your videos at tastethemadness.com and get mad famous, and just look at the eyes of Blake Griffin.
Tremendous concentration there, but he's in position because he's on balance.
Well, here's the shot at midcourt. It's Lawson putting it up and almost back of the rim. Oklahoma's 23 points. That's a season low for them in the first half, but they got it down to 9. Greg Gumbel coming up. But maybe it's a good omen for Oklahoma. The 32-23 score we begin the second half with. Those are the numbers worn by brothers Griffin.
Yeah, that is. And
32.
actually, as my younger son would say, the score is flipped, Dad. 32-23.
Ellington adds to the Carolina lead, and it's back to 11.
Really important for Oklahoma to get off to a good start here, Jim. They've got to move the ball, attack if they can off the dribble, but then knock down perimeter shots. But I think they've got to try to play inside out.
Oklahoma had not trailed in the 3 other NCAA tournament games in the second half. Crocker. And put back, yes, by Blake Griffin. But they're missing Crocker. And that performance that lit up this arena on Friday night.
Well, that was one of the things we thought might be an issue, the fact that Carolina has a number of guys that can score the ball. And there's Deon Thompson getting a bucket, and Oklahoma does not have the same kind of varied firepower.
Johnson. Lawson shut him off. Hansbrough got a hand on it to knock it out. North Carolina now the highest seeded team remaining in the tournament, because the overall #1 Louisville was knocked out today. The #2 overall Pittsburgh eliminated last night. North Carolina was rated the #3 most powerful team in the seeds released by the NCAA selection committee 2 weeks ago at about this time. Griffin gets it up to Crocker. Smart play by Blake Griffin.
And another example of his good hands to retrieve that loose ball and then the shovel pass it into Crocker. Maybe that'll get Crocker going from the perimeter. Sometimes a guy is struggling making outside shots. He gets a layup and things turn for him.
That's his first 2, coming off a career high 28 against Syracuse. Danny Green. Lawson weaving, dishing. Thompson has 2 baskets to start the second half after making 1 in the first half.
Well, that was all Ty Lawson there, penetrating effectively in traffic.
Johnson, floater, yes. Austin Johnson. He did not score in that first half. His first points. Hansbrough, it's a travel ball.
Sure is. Good position that time by Taylor Griffin. I don't think Tyler caught it as cleanly as he wanted to, and he was off balance and subsequently walked.
And it's the 4th Carolina turnover. That's all.
They've really taken care of the ball throughout the tournament, Jim. Have the Tar Heels.
Thompson steals it right back. Lawson. And the foul. On Johnson, his second, and North Carolina going for #100.
Oh, that'd be a magical number, wouldn't it? Wow. 100 tournament wins.
Kentucky actually had 100, but 2 expunged from the records from the '89 tournament. 2 wins from that year, backing them up to 98 with those erased. Here's Lawson. Roy Williams. 3 straight 30-win seasons directing this North Carolina program.
How about those numbers there, Jim? 78 minutes, 19 assists, and 1 miscue for Ty Lawson.
Incredible.
There's the story of your ball game right there, and the fact that Oklahoma has not made anything from the 3-point line.
They work it inside, and Griffin now able to wriggle free off the pass from Warren. Griffin already with a double-double. 15 points, 11 rebounds. Lawson loses it. Back to Thompson. He's sealed. Snaps it outside. Ellington's ready for it and knocks it down for a three.
Well, it seems like every time North Carolina has gotten a turnover or retrieved a loose ball at their end of the floor, they've converted on just about all of them.
They've hit their first 4 shots of this half. That's Thompson for the second time in this half coming around. The first time it resulted in a steal. This one's going back to the Sooners. And time is running out, folks, for you to be a part of this year's Final Four. Tomorrow, just remember this, it's the last day to enter to win a trip for 4 to the Final Four next week. It's only from Pontiac and only at Pontiac.com/NCAA.
Oh, my goodness, young fella.
I thought it was too high.
Not for that guy.
Not even close. Lawson.
But you got to get back. See, that's what Carolina does better than any team in college basketball. You score, you're in the home run celebration trot, and they come right back down your throat.
Got Ed Davis on him now. Open man, and Crocker doesn't want to take the three.
Boy, they pass, and then they shoot that shot.
Unbelievable.
That's why you have to take the first good available shot when you're a shooter. Tony Crocker put his teammate in a bad position that time.
That's going to Oklahoma. Out of the break.
How about this? Showing you some helium. That's yeast that rises and helium that floats. Go get it, Blake.
Really has been a wonderful host site here for the regional round. Fans have had a lot of fun.
Yes, they have.
Hanging out in the Field Street area.
Plenty of good eats down here, too, boy.
Fun place to rendezvous, that's for sure. Jim Nance, Clark Kellogg. And Oklahoma's, well, 17 of the last 23 points have come from Blake Griffin on their side. Make it 19 of their last 25. That's after he got shut out the first 11 and a half.
But I don't know if they can't win that way. They've got to have somebody else step up and make some points, score some points. Doesn't have to be a lot of points, but somebody else is going to have to knock down a shot or two. Otherwise, North Carolina is varied attack with any number of guys putting numbers up is going to be too much to overcome.
Boy, the Griffins doubled up hands, but they thought they had it clean. That one's on Taylor. Hey, by the way, this Thursday, Price is Right. We're going to be on there giving away a Final Four showcase.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, well, I wanted you to kind of hang out with me.
No, that was all yours, man. That was
Drew
all
Perry hosts. It should be fun. Check it out this Thursday.
Yeah, it fits you well.
Oh, thank you. Just what I wanted to hear.
Zone defense here by Oklahoma. Can they come up with a couple of stops and then rebound the ball?
And Danny Green banking it in. Now 16 on the night. And let you see Oklahoma 4 points off 5 turnovers. And North Carolina's forced 10. They've taken advantage with 15 points.
That's your difference in the ball game. And then we've talked about it all game long. The inability of Oklahoma to make a three-point shot and another turnover right there. So make it 11 turnovers now for Oklahoma. And when you're trying to play a slower paced game, Jim, when the possessions are going to be fewer, turnovers are really magnified. I mean, North Carolina can have 10, 12, 14 turnovers in a game, in a high-paced game, because they're looking for more possessions. But in this kind of a game, Oklahoma really hurting itself with the turnover.
That is the first missed shot by North Carolina in 7 minutes of action. They had made their last 7 in 7 minutes of action. Patillo, and he is hacked. Yeah, the Final Four brackets, Michigan State and Connecticut. That's a matchup. Villanova to face the winner of this one. By the way, Michigan State and Connecticut have only met twice. Both of those games, by the way, were on CBS. And one was in December of '98. Connecticut won the game. And they went on that season in April '99 and won the championship. Then they played again in 2000 up in East Lansing. Michigan State won. And they went on to win the championship. So the 2 times they played, the winner went on to win the national title.
Although they've not played in the tournament. There you go.
Yep. Ed Davis picked up his 3rd foul.
There you see the free throw story. North Carolina perfect. Oklahoma leaving a little lettuce on the line.
And Patillo hits one this time. 1 for 4 after that make.
That's a surprising number, the fact that Oklahoma has out-rebounded North Carolina. North Carolina has gotten some second chance opportunities, though, in attacking this zone. And that's not going to work. They're going to have to go back to man-to-man because North Carolina has too many guys that can make the three.
Largest lead of the game now for the Tar Heels. Plus 14.
And that's really an area where Ty Lawson has improved every season as a perimeter shooter, particularly from behind the arc. He's close to 50% three-point shooting this year after being around 35 as a freshman.
Wide of the mark, it's Crocker. He's 0 for 4 in this game from 3 after hitting 6 on Friday. And Oklahoma's 0 for 11.
Yeah, it's impossible for them to beat North Carolina without making any threes. They just can't do it on 2-point field goals.
Ed Davis just picked up his 4th. He has to come out. Blake Griffin with 19, 17 by the rest of the Sooners. Hansbrough with only 4.
That's a great illustration of the difference between these two teams. North Carolina has a number of guys that can put up big numbers. Oh, that's a pretty good throw down there. Whereas Oklahoma relies heavily on Blake Griffin.
Patillo hammering that one.
As I thought, Oklahoma man-to-man now.
Tipped up by Hansbrough. Patillo again. Pass is way too far for Warren. Jeff Capel, who has tangled enough times with North Carolina, you know, from his playing days at Duke. And he's a point guard there for Coach K. He's going to need some sort of like equivalent of a mid-court shot against the Tar Heels to get this comeback and get this team turned around. By the way, he's done that against North Carolina.
Yeah, he sure has.
Lawson trying to add to it, and does with a 3.
Well, I talked about it at the top. Efficient, effective, and electrifying. I would also add timely to what Ty Lawson does. He picks his spots, and that's a dagger there.
Warren, much needed. Still none on the night for Oklahoma. While the Tar Heels are shooting 80% in this half. That's Crocker. Good aggressive rebound, boxing out Hansbrough.
I know Oklahoma doesn't really want to play a fast-paced game, but in an effort to try to get back into this one, it might behoove them to try to get something in transition when they have the opportunity.
Well, that's a foul on Thompson. Basket counts. Will come out of the break with Griffin at the line, trying to be a one-man band, bringing it back. We're back inside here in Memphis, and North Carolina's had this working margin almost the entire way. Jim Nance with Clark Kellogg. We do come out of the break with Blake Griffin to the line for 1. Got off to a slow start. Hansbrough and the Tar Heels defended him, shut him down for 11.5 minutes, but since that time, 21 points. Can add to it right here.
But again, it won't be enough for Oklahoma to win this game if somebody else doesn't help Blake Griffin from the perimeter.
It's Hansbrough. Just his 2nd rebound. He's been sitting much of this game, got in the early foul trouble.
Yeah, but in the first half, Danny Green carried the load with 14, and already Ty Lawson has 10 of his 14 here in the first 8.5 minutes of this half. So another example of North Carolina being able to get it from different guys at the offensive end of the floor.
That's on Crocker, his 3rd foul, and number 3 in the half on the Sooners. We got 3 also on North Carolina to this point. So low totals for each team for the half. Deon Thompson.
That's a case of Blake Griffin just not being aggressive enough defensively. He'll play behind a lot in the low post, and when he does that against a player like Thompson, Thompson will make you pay.
Thompson with 8, 6.5. His entire half has been played between a 9 and 15-point Carolina lead, and Carolina comes up with the play. Taylor Griffin saying, wait a minute, where was the foul? Up ahead, though, it's Lawson racing in for 2 more.
Just overpowered Austin Johnson that time. Boy, Ty gets that body on you. He's going to take you for a ride and then be able to concentrate enough to finish.
Now with 16 and 12 coming after halftime. Coming around, Thompson picks up his 3rd. 4th team.
I think the North Carolina interior defenders are doing a pretty good job of breaking contact on Blake Griffin and coming around to discourage passes or get a hand on him.
Zeller will come in for Thompson. When will Oklahoma hit a 3? They're 0 for 12. This is a 2. Warren. Way too much.
Well, again, I mentioned it in the first half, Jim. The challenging of perimeter shots by North Carolina has really been excellent here today.
Warren is 1 of 8 from the floor.
He's the 2nd leading scorer on this team. And
yep, Big 12 freshman of the year.
Has not been able to get it going at all. That's a good look for Crocker.
Yeah, but it's not there. Not a confident stroke. Tight bounce pass, and that's off Danny Green. And I said they're going to need some sort of miracle shot. Coach Capel's side, and here he is. The end of an overtime game against North Carolina at Cameron. Then he launches it and knocks it down to send it to double OT. That was back in 1995. But Carolina went on the win at 102-100.
Yeah, that was some kind of game. I remember watching that.
Yep. Of course, his brother knows all about that North Carolina-Duke rivalry from the other side.
Yep. Jason had a nice career at North Carolina.
Yeah, he's here.
It's been a tough day at the office for the Sooners.
Oh, Green misses. Frazier saves it at midcourt, and Austin Johnson tumbles into Ty Lawson.
Ty wanted another assist, and he should have had one. As Green just banged that one off the back of the rim. There's Jason Capel. Outstanding career, and obviously hurting with and for his brother here, as Oklahoma has really struggled to find any kind of perimeter offense today.
Hansbrough waits. Travel.
Yeah, he did.
For that twice.
Yeah, bunny hop before he got into a shot.
Again, the winner of this one goes on to face Villanova next week. The Capel family had a history with Villanova in the NCAA tournament. Jeff's father at Old Dominion back in '95 eliminated the Wildcats. There's Johnson short in a triple overtime game when ODU was a 14 seed and the Wildcats were a 3. There's Zeller. They run that break with Lawson, and no one cuts him off. Timeout, Oklahoma. It's getting away from him now. They just keep coming at you. Well, really, Ty Lawson does, setting up everything. This is the 4th time in the game now that North Carolina's been on a run of at least 6-0. We're in the midst of another one right now. Sooners have gone 3.5 minutes without even making a basket. That's going to be on Frazier, who's been picking up fouls rapidly today. That's 4 on him. And Crocker 0 for 5.
The team 0 for 13 compared to what they did on Friday night, 9 of 21. Crocker was 6 of 11 himself on Friday. Willie Warren has struggled as well, and it's been a tough day shooting the ball, taking care of it for Oklahoma, and it's really hard for one to beat 4 or 5. That's basically what Oklahoma is trying to do now, or has tried to do thus far. Blake Griffin, the only Sooner to produce points with any regularity.
Taylor Griffin. Ellington, quick step. Green checks the feet, and Taylor Griffin hits him on the shoulder. That's the 15th foul against Oklahoma. Break in the action here. North Carolina and Oklahoma met in the tournament back in 1990. Dean Smith down in Austin against Billy Tubbs, and Oklahoma is ranked #1 in the country, the #1 seed in its region, and Rick Fox knocked him out. North Carolina sprung the upset, beat him 79-77 to advance to the Sweet 16 for a 10th straight year.
And I never did that in a tournament game, Jim, but to hit a game-winning shot, that is a major adrenaline rush. I mean, even more so, I would think, in a tournament game to do that. And Scotty Reynolds knows the feeling.
Yes, he does. Winning it last night for Villanova, and Thompson now in double figures, 8 coming in this half.
Well, he and Lawson have been the difference here in this second half for North Carolina offensively, and again, indicating the number of weapons that North Carolina has compared to what Oklahoma has been able to get done today.
And Johnson. North Carolina will clear it.
Well, we've talked about Oklahoma missing a lot of shots, and they've missed some good ones, but they've been challenged on a lot of them too. Good effort there by Blake Griffin. But North Carolina's defense has been pretty sticky here.
I'm looking at these Final Four brackets, and what do you make out of that Michigan State-Connecticut matchup? You've seen both teams a number of times.
Well, Michigan State very deep. Hasheem Thabeet is the most intimidating defensive presence in the college game. That's always a factor. I think Stanley Robinson and A.J. Price have been excellent. Kemba Walker, the freshman yesterday, was absolutely scintillating in his ability to come up with a career-high 23 and get to the rim and make tough, big shots all game long. So Tom Izzo will have the Spartans ready, and being in their home state might be a little bit of a help and a boost for that deep, talented Michigan State team.
Well, there's going to be an incredible scene there at Ford Field with the court right out in the middle of the stadium. We're going to be setting records for crowds at a Final Four, and having a home state school in there. Wow, that's going to have some energy.
Yes, it should.
That was foul on Patilla, his first, number 6 against Oklahoma.
Oklahoma comes in averaging well over 70 points a game, Jim. Averaging 79 a game, and nowhere near that. And you have to give that man's defense some credit. Roy Williams and the North Carolina Tar Heels pretty good defensively in the second half against Gonzaga, and here today really solid, I think, from the start. Knew what they were trying to do, challenge shots, double team Griffin effectively. Oh, Tyler trying to get some frustration out with that one.
He was trying to go up and over Blake, who wildly throws it up over his head.
It's an offensive foul on Blake Griffin.
Out of control on that one.
Yeah, just a touch. Tyler, I haven't seen this from Mr. Hansbrough. I've seen a lot of other stuff, but look at him. He was trying to slingshot this one home. He actually was too far away to really dunk it.
Yeah, and need his arms to be a little longer. Need to put those extensions on him. Here's Willie Warren with a breakaway. And he takes out some frustration with that one.
Well, now again, Oklahoma not a deep team. Can they effectively start trying to press? The pace of the game has been such that there should be some energy left. See if they can stir things up a little bit here.
That was their first basket in 5 minutes and 36 seconds.
Well, with this guy handling the ball, Carolina's a very difficult team to press.
Lawson tip. Thompson again, and it comes outside to Warren.
Push it ahead and space out behind that three-point line.
Now Warren will just take it. Now 0 for 15 as a team. I mean, how many times have you ever heard of that dreadful a performance from behind the arc?
Yeah, it's been a woeful night so far.
And it's Crocker with the theft. And the drive in for 2. Good play by Crocker. Carolina's got a little sloppy here, and there's a third straight turnover against North Carolina. It's going back now. How about that? It was here in Memphis, of all places. Was not in this arena. This one's not constructed back in '96. It was over at the Pyramid the last time the Sooners did not make a 3 in a game. Going back 13 seasons ago.
Yeah. There's a hold there, I think, on Zeller.
The foul charge to North Carolina, number 44.
So Hansbrough back down. Zeller's second and the 6th on North Carolina with 5:17 to go in the game.
You know, as is often the case when you have two marquee players, sometimes the matchup individually doesn't live up to the hype. There it is. There's a triple.
At last.
Wow. Took a while. Let's see if they can get 1 or 2 more to go. They can make this interesting.
He just put up a graphic, and look what happens. You call the announcer's curse from time to time at the free throw line. That was a production curse. Or assist, if you will.
Yeah,
Let's put it the other way.
Side. Yeah, that was
Fishman and Deacon coming to the rescue.
That was a blessing. That was a production blessing.
They've scored the last 7 points now, Oklahoma. And Lawson from the baseline. Oh, look at that rebound.
And in transition, got a chance now.
One left alone and 9 unanswered. And hold on a minute here.
Yes, sir.
Before you advance Carolina in the brackets, just hold on for a minute. 4:31 to go. It's down to 12. Well, it's been trimmed to 61-49. The lead had been at 61-40 just a short while ago with the 9 unanswered. And how can they continue this comeback with so little time?
The margin of error, Jim, is so slim when you're trying to come from such a deep hole. They've got to continue to press. Carolina got a little careless, a little casual, forced a couple of quick shots, turned it over. Now Oklahoma just has to continue to be aggressive, get some stops, and then attack the rim. I mean, that's a 9-0 run in a minute 40, so they've done it quickly. But the danger is now all Carolina has to do to wreck this rally is get a basket or some points from the foul line. Oklahoma needs stops every time and then perfect execution at the offensive end. That's a lot to ask from a team against a formidable opponent. And here you go, a foul on Willie Warren. Ty Lawson, an excellent free throw shooter, is going to go to the line because Oklahoma's over the limit.
Yeah, that's their 8th, so it'll be a 1-and-1. Jeff Capel, when he was hired as a head coach for the first time back in 2002, he was just 27. He was the youngest Division I coach in America. 4 years at Virginia Commonwealth. Got the attention of the folks down in Oklahoma. Now in 3 years, he has his team in the Elite 8, but hoping for more. 1-and-1 for Lawson.
Timely tie does not leave opportunities on the table, whether it's a 3 when defenders back off of him, whether it's an opportunity to get it to the rim, whether it's finding an open teammate. When it's winning time, this young fella usually delivers in a variety of ways.
That's now only 8 free throw attempts for Carolina for the game, but they're 8 for 8. Willie Warren at his block as Lawson picked up Griffin. Try to double team Lawson. Ball's on the floor. Got 5 seconds to get across. They do that with ease, but the pass up ahead to Hansbrough. And that is Blake Griffin. Too snug.
Wow.
Much contact. And
boy, that was a tough one there. It didn't seem like he made a lot of contact. Loose ball retrieved by Griffin, and right around there, he's punching it every time. Just get out of the way.
got a break in the action. Hansbrough coming back with a 1-on-1. Well, the winding Mississippi heading on down to New Orleans way, which will be back in the NCAA tournament rotation as a first-round site next year and Final Four site in 2012 as Hansbrough hits on the front end of a 1-on-1. His family is here. There's his dad here in the second row.
Yeah, there he is right there.
What? Yep.
I had him circled there.
It's only 150 miles from Tyler's hometown of Pop Bluff, Missouri. Well, as close as he's been in his career. He played one game in St. Louis sophomore year. That was 150 miles away. Warren lost slip, but somehow banked it in. Looked like Walker's shot yesterday for UConn to kind of ice things.
Yeah.
Threw it up at the rim and it went in.
He sure did.
Timeout North Carolina with 3:30 to go. Oklahoma now scoring every time, trying to mount the furious rally. Tonight on 60 Minutes, LeBron James created an all new kind of madness in basketball, and you'll see it on 60 Minutes coming up shortly. Except for those of you on the West Coast, you'll see it at your normal time. Now here comes Hansbrough. They break that press. Oklahoma's trimmed it from 21 to 12. And North Carolina's gone 4 minutes without a basket, Clark.
But good spacing here. They're going to use some clock. Oklahoma's over the limit in fouls, so if you're Carolina, you want to be strong with the ball, and then you want to attack here at about the 10-second mark. Get ready to execute your play and put it in the hands of your playmaker.
That's Danny Green stepping up and banking it home.
Perfect execution there, and you'd expect that from an experienced team like North Carolina.
Ellington jumps over to snag it. Danny Green with 18. And Lawson share the honors. And that's off the leg of Ellington. 2:40 to play.
Ellington claiming he was pushed, but maybe had taken a couple of extra dribbles too many there, but still the Tar Heels in very good shape. Methodical performance here tonight.
That's an extra step by Warren. North Carolina trying to make the Final Four composition. 2 Big East, 1 Big Ten, 1 ACC. We had a 9-point margin here at halftime. 32-23 North Carolina led. And that 9-point margin, Oklahoma never got any closer in the second half.
Nope. Went as high as what, 21?
21 at 61-40. That's a reach in on Griffin. And by the way, President Obama is going to finally advance a team to the Final Four. I don't want to get on him because a lot of people.
Well, you just did.
I got the same thing.
Oh, okay,
North Carolina's the only one I had in my little bracket pool. But you know, I'm sure the folks in Connecticut, the Villanova fans, the state of Pennsylvania and Michigan State, I'm sure they didn't take note. But you know, so many people had his combination.
If they didn't take note, they've taken note now.
But he played, as you saw, practice with North Carolina back during the campaign days back in April. And Jack Wooten of the Tar Heels had the honor of trying to defend President, who's got a pretty tidy game. But I tell you, a lot of folks, I mean, I really think that half the country had the same combination, took his lead on that. They had Memphis as the only two, and the other three number ones.
Yeah, well, you can understand it based on how those teams have played and the momentum they had coming into the tournament. Understandable.
By the way, he does have Carolina winning the championship.
Well, he's still alive in that regard.
Roy Williams, he's on his way to Final Four number 7 in his career. 4 with Kansas, 3 in 6 years at North Carolina.
Championship in 2005. If I'm not mistaken, did they play Villanova in 2005 in the one of the earlier rounds? Controversial travel call on Randy Foy.
They sure did.
Yeah.
That was actually an Elite 8 game.
Yeah.
No, Sweet 16 game.
Was it Sweet 16?
Because Wisconsin went on and played. That was up in Syracuse.
Yeah. Was that 05?
That was 05. It was on their way to the championship.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Oklahoma
trying to stump you there, partner. I mean,
well, we got it.
Yeah.
It took a while. You saw the shock on my face.
Well, I know
there was a call, though, at the end of that game.
Yeah, right. I remember. Well, I remember
Villanova.
seeing it, sitting there in the studio watching that. And now a chance to get back there after the tough loss in the semifinals last year to eventual champion Kansas in a game where North Carolina tried to come back from a huge deficit, but just couldn't quite get back.
So 3 times, you know, we settled things before this matchup. UConn the first one in. That was yesterday over in Arizona. A successful site for them. Villanova wins last night in Boston, basically at the buzzer. The Reynolds winner. And Michigan State. That's performance surprise you?
Just mildly. They controlled pace and did exactly what they needed to do.
Jim Nance, Clark Kellogg were coming out of a North Carolina timeout.
Free throws coming for Ty Lawson, who's had another big second half for the Tar Heels. 14 of those 18 points here in the second stanza.
Double bonus, he'll shoot 2. And you know, the toe, maybe that whole issue and examination of that right foot, that was such a story here for about 10 days. Actually goes back to the Duke game, March the 8th. Maybe that's now gone away.
I think it's a non-issue. Yeah, it's a non-issue as long as he doesn't have any kind of setback between now and next Saturday. But he seems to feel it's getting better. Whirlpool treatment at the hotel pool, a big part of his improvement this week.
Taylor Griffin, and that's a charge. Minute 33 to go. Lead is 15.
Well, just a good job by Danny Green to come up and deflect the ball, and then I think that was Bobby Fraser who stepped in and took the charge.
Taylor Griffin fouls out. The senior. Wow, did they combine the Griffin brothers and the rest of this Sooner team for some special memories? And well, will they ever be on the floor together, the Griffin brothers, in competitive basketball again? They won state championships together back at Oklahoma Christian School. 2 fabulous years together there in Norman, Oklahoma.
And plenty of great memories if in fact this is the last time that they are together as teammates on the hardwood.
Down to Hansbrough, and he's fouled by Blake Griffin. The Chevrolet players of the game here in Memphis. Blake Griffin puts up again big numbers, 23 and 16, and Danny Green, he really fueled that Tar Heel first half. 14 of his 18 come in the first 20 minutes. Hansbrough, the first ever 4-time consensus all ACC first team player. And the man has made more free throws than anyone in the history of college basketball. Hits one more. There's his dad, Gene, an orthopedic surgeon up in Poplar, Missouri. Being able to drive to see his son play for only the 3rd time in his 4-year career.
And you saw Taylor Griffin there. It's always tough when your last game is a loss. And the farther you go, the more painful it is when it comes to an end.
Well, he's loved the college experience as Tyler Hansbrough. Came back for a lot of reasons, but this was clearly one of them. To get back to the Final Four and to come back and try to make up for that national semifinal performance by the Tar Heels last year against Kansas.
Well, the opportunity is in front of them. They'll have a chance to do just that, and it won't be easy. Villanova is playing better and better and so explosive offensively and tenacious at the defensive end of the floor. A lot of playmakers on that Villanova Wildcats roster. Guys that can handle, shoot, drive it, pass it, and they defend much bigger than they are.
This is Mark Campbell, and his pass intercepted by Crocker. The lob to Patillo for the dunk. And Blake Griffin now sitting down as well. 2 memorable years in an Oklahoma uniform. He turned 20 on the day after Selection Sunday and was hoping that About 20 days later, he finds himself in the Final Four. That's not going to be the case. North Carolina too much. They start out 7-0 and never look back. Tar Heels win for the 100th time in their history in the NCAA tournament, a record, and now a record 18th Final Four coming up. There's your Final Four now. Michigan State, Connecticut, Villanova, and North Carolina. A lot of seniors, by the way. There will be 10 senior starters out of the 20. 8 are juniors. A lot of kids have waited for a long time to get to that promised land, and they'll be there next week. I look forward to being there with you, Clark.
I am too, Jim.
Greg Gumbel coming up as we continue on the road to the Final Four.